नमस्सर्वेभ्यः अस्माकं योगनिष्ठजीवनमिति वर्गे भवतां सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। गतवर्गे अस्माभिः पासिटिव् मैण्ड् इत्यस्मिन् विषये चर्चा आरब्धा आसीत्। तत्र one of the fundamental things for a yogi is to have a positive mind, right? So यदि मनः सकारात्मकं भवति तदानीं तत्र अग्रे गन्तुं सौलभ्यं भवति. So all of us have to face difficulties in life, right? Life is full of challenges, right? Every person on this universe has to go through these challenges, right? So either we can get depressed and live in fear, or we can say I will adopt a positive mindset and go through these challenges and respond to these challenges with a positive mindset using the Yoganishta Jivanam, right? So many people who are afraid of challenges, they go to the astrologers, they go to numerology, and they want to know about their future. They have fears about their future. So this only indicates that they lack faith in Paramapurusha, they lack faith in Paramatma, right? True faith is not dogmatic, it is deep, and it is an abiding trust, right? I actually mentioned this in the last class that a 3-year-old child walking in the market, it holds its parents' hands and it walks fearlessly, right? Even though it's very small, the child feels fearless because it is trusting its parents' strength and protection. Same way, a yogi always realizes that his hands are held by Paramapurusha and there is no fear in going forward, right? He trusts Paramapurusha's presence and power, knowing that no problem is too great to overcome. So when something unfortunate happens, it is crucial not to lose calmness and composure, right? If the mind freaks out, namaskaraha. Okay. Kumar Modi, you want to say something?
Mahodaya?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, yeah.
Okay. Astu. Kripaya mute. Acha. Okay, so something unfortunate happens, it is crucial not to lose composure, right? If the mind freaks out and it falls into disarray, then not only the unfortunate event occurred, but also the mind also loses its capacity to respond effectively, right? So a person who is engaged in this Yoganishta Jivanam, his mind remains positive all the time, understanding that difficulties are inevitable, but knowing that Paramapurusha is always with them, right? This mindset eliminates anxiety and fear, right? Positivity, what is positivity? Positivity means standing up and moving forward, believing in oneself and knowing that one is never alone, right? So this positive mindset is very essential for a sadhaka, for a spiritualist, for a yogi, right? It is grounded in the truth that Paramapurusha, who created this universe, who guides the universe, who guides the stars, who guides the sun, who guides the solar system, is also guiding and supporting each and every one of us, right? He is the Sakshi Satta. He is a Sakshi Satta. There is nothing that we can do without his knowledge, right? So people think that they can go to the corner of the room and they can do something, they can hide something, or they think that everything only they know, right? Only their mind knows. No. But Paramapurusha is the Sakshi Satta. He knows everything that is happening. There is no secret, right? You can't go to the corner and say, oh, I'm going to do something very secretive. No, he knows everything. So this characteristic of maintaining a positive mind is very, very fundamental and practical, and it is supported by all the practices that we talked about: the food discipline, aharaha, satvik aharaha, upavasaha, sadhana, asanani. All of these contribute to the positive mindset, and a positive mindset is our greatest asset, right? So if you drop and break your cell phone, that, for instance, if you drop your cell phone and you break it, right, you accidentally drop your cell phone and you break it, that is an unfortunate event. Let's say that the phone is a fairly new one, right? But then if your mind also becomes negative, then the loss is doubled, right? Always we need to strive to maintain a positive mindset, knowing that Paramatma is with you and have that strength to overcome any challenges, right? So if your mobile phone falls and breaks, it's fine. The important thing is that your mind should also not become negative because of that. What happened happened. Our job is to manage the situation and move on, right? The mind must always remain positive no matter what the situation is, right? And that is within your control. Whatever happens in life might not be under your control, but whether your mind remains positive or not is in your control. If your mind stays positive, you'll be able to handle any situation, right? So positivity is one of the key things for a yogi. No matter what, you're always very calm and very cool, right? So with that calmness and that positivity, you're able to handle any situation in life, no matter what. So even though you're having a very a very unfortunate event, let's say one of your close relative passed away or whatever it may be, right? But even then you are able to you know uh, understand that Parama Purusha is always with you and you're not alone, right? That feeling, when you get that feeling, then automatically you will get the strength from inside to handle any situation, right? So that is on the positive mindset, and which is a fundamental characteristic of a sadhaka, is mental positivity, right? So the next, moving on, so the last item that I'd like to cover over here is the so far we talked about all the individual practices. What should I do as an individual, right? How should I live in the society? What should I do on a daily basis in terms of my food, in terms of asanas, in terms of my sadhana? How should I, मम व्यवहारः कथं भवेत् इत्यस्मिन् विषये एतावता चर्चा जाता. इदानीं सामूहिकरूपेण अस्माकं व्यवहारः कथं भवेत् इत्यत्र चर्चा अस्ति. तत्र भिन्नभिन्नपशवः सन्ति लोके. यथा लोके भिन्नभिन्नपशवः सन्ति, तथैव जनानामपि स्वभावः भिन्नः भवति. यथा अहमस्मि तथा भवान् नास्ति. भवतः स्वभावः भिन्नः, मम स्वभावः भिन्नः. परन्तु वयं पश्यामः चेत् पशुषु भिन्नभिन्नस्वभावाः सन्ति इति यदा वयं वदामः, तदानीं केचन पशवः सामूहिकरूपेण निवासं कुर्वन्ति. केचन पशवः एकाकी भवन्ति. केचन पशवः इत्युक्ते तत्र सामूहिकरूपेण न भवन्ति. यथा तत्र सिंहः सर्वदा एकाकी एव भवति. क्षम्यतां, सिंहः सर्वदा सामूहिकरूपेण एव भवति, एकाकी न भवति. परन्तु यदा वयं लेपर्ड्स् इति पश्यामः, लेपर्ड्स् इति सर्वदा एकाकी एव भवति. तत्र केचन पशवः एकाकी भवन्ति, केचन पशवः सामूहिकरूपेण भवन्ति. इत्युक्ते ते तथा एव वासं कुर्वन्ति. बै डिसैन् दे आर् लैक् देट्. दे लैक् टु लिव् टुगेदर्. दे आर् वेरी वेरी क्लोस् knit, right? They like to live collectively, while other animals live alone, right? Yata tatra spider asti. Spider sarvada ekaki eva bhavati. Swayam tatra web, it weaves its web, and then it just weaves, it is contented in being solitude, right? On the other hand, if you look at ants, right, they live in a tightly organized society, always helping each other and working collectively. Human beings are like ants, not like spiders. Human beings are like ants. So we thrive in a social context, not in isolation. If you think about it deeply, we cannot live alone. We like to live in the society. We take the support from other people, right? So even like on a day-to-day basis, if you think about your life, right, whatever the food that you get, the water that you get, everything is dependent on somebody else, right? The electricity that you get, it is not that you have generated the electricity on your own. It is not that you have dug the well and got the water on your own. It is not like you just grew the crops on your own and you got the food. You're depending on the society for a lot of things, right? In the same way, you're also contributing to the society in some way or form. and the other people are benefiting from that, and you're benefiting from what the other people's contribution in terms of food, in terms of electricity, in terms of water, right, and many telephone, so many other things that so many utilities that we get from the society, right? So we as human beings, we like to live in a society. We thrive in a social context. We cannot live in isolation, whether it is not only in the modern times but even in ancient times. We always lived in a society. We always depended on the other person for our daily requirements, right? So far we have discussed about the individual life, like what are the practices that I should do in terms of sadhana, in terms of asanas, in terms of vyapak soch, in terms of the ahara, the sattvic ahara, also the upavasa. These are all individual practices. However, human beings are social beings like ants, right? Yoga philosophy integrates the social aspect very deeply. So if an ant is separated from its society, it cannot fulfill its life properly, because it is designed like that. It is designed to live in harmony with the rest of its colony, right? Similarly, for a human life to reach its ultimate goal, we need greater human family, right? Our success as human beings is integral to our social nature. So as I was saying, like if you need water, right, we are not we are not going to dig the well by ourselves. We don't have the capability to go and dig the well by ourselves, to grow our own food, to build our own generators for electricity, including mining for iron ore. This is all impossible for us, right? Our complex society requires us to work together and help each other. This has been true not only in the modern times but also since ancient times, right? People have always lived together and supported one another. So yogi, in the yoga philosophy, yogi understands this and he incorporates this social aspect completely, right? The key phrase to remember over here is atma mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Atma mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. So it is not only atma moksha, or if somebody is engaged only in atma moksha, then it will become a very extremely selfish endeavor, right? You're completely ignoring the society. A yogi does not ignore the society. So that's why we say it is atma mokshartam jagat hitaya cha, meaning individual liberation and collective welfare, right? Jagat hitam, jagat ditam is very crucial, because without jagataha hitam we cannot meet our basic needs. So for example, if someone is starving, if you're not getting the food, then how can you focus on your spiritual practice? You need to get your basic requirements, right? So without your basic requirements, you cannot engage in the spiritual practice. So we need to get food, clothing, shelter, medicine, whatever that is. We need all those things to move forward collectively. So this is a necessity. So but if you look in the current world's current state of disorder, that is mainly due to the absence of yogic philosophy. So to succeed in our spiritual lives, our social connectivity and collective life are very important. So this is a new aspect that I want to emphasize over here, right? So we live in a materialistic world dominated by capitalism. So materialism falsely teaches us that happiness is through material acquisition. So that is a fundamental mistake, and that mistake leads to all kinds of social problems, right? Leads to social problems, environmental problems, all kinds of problems. It leads to global warming, it leads to strikes, it leads to war, right? Materialism causes people to live a pashu jivanam rather than a manava jivanam, right? So humans have an infinite desire. Human beings have an infinite desire, and we have the option to follow it or not, right? The world can be seen as a university with capitalist funding advertisements that mislead us into believing that material possessions bring happiness. That is a fake happiness. It's not a real happiness. So the materialists actually design how the society should be. They say that you need to have a perfect house, you need to have a perfect car, you need to have everything, you need to have all these material things, right? So this facade is perpetuated by the capitalists, by the materialists, and it prevents us from creating a true human society, right? So political power, financial power, money, land, these are all limited. So if you accumulate these, then you deprive others. So this misconception that material accumulation creates happiness leads to darkness. So true human happiness isn't defined by material wealth. So everyone needs a certain amount of wealth, but there is enough for everyone. So if we let go of the idea that more is always better, so that is how our mentality is. So the more money we want, the more clothing we want, more food we want, more shoes we want, everything we want more, everything material, every finite thing we want more of it, right? So a critical shift is needed in understanding that human desire the infinite, human desire the infinite. So our goal in life is not to accumulate physical things, but to realize the infinite within us. So once we understand this as a society, we will see that we are on the same team. Realizing the infinite does not deprive anyone else, right? So whatever is there in this universe is created by Paramatma, right? So that is created for everybody in this universe. It's not just for one person. So it is not right to accumulate more of something than what we actually need, right? So if we are all on this spiritual journey together, we have to support each other. The spirit of togetherness is a fundamental to human society and to the yogic life. So without this we will always struggle. So that is why the principle of atma mokshartam jagat hitaya cha is very, very important to the yogic life. We must realize that we are not like spiders, we are like ants. So as yogis we envision to create a unified society. It's like a beautiful bouquet with many different flowers. Each flower is very different, right? So but we are together a collective, a beautiful bouquet where no one is left out, no one is left behind. Everybody moves forward together, ensuring that everyone has enough food to eat and a place to live. So uh, what what is this new reality going to be instead of materialism and capitalism, and how it will be organized? All that we will be talking about in our Karapatra's future. So currently, like many people in India and also in Africa and many other countries, they live in poverty, extreme poverty, lacking basic necessities like water, electricity. All this is unacceptable. This has come because of our extreme selfishness, right? So imagining the hardships faced by those living outside the major cities like Mumbai or Delhi in shelters, right? Without live in makeshift shelters without electricity. All this is unacceptable. So because they are also you know uh, the they are also the progeny of Paramatma, Paramapurusha. So we as one society, as one family, as the progeny of the same Paramapurusha, we have come from the same source, right? This is integral to yogic life. Without this internal feeling, you can never get samatvam. So we keep talking about samatvam, we keep talking about vasudhaiva kutumbakam, right? So anywhere we go, we hear this vasudhaiva kutumbakam, the world is one family, we hear that. But do we really feel it from the bottom of our heart, or do we just say it? Are they just words, right? So most often we find that these are just words, because internally we have not internalized that we are vasudhaiva kutumbakam. We have not internalized that. So how do we internalize that vasudhaiva kutumbakam? That is only possible through yoganishta jivanam, right? By doing sadhana, by doing asanas, and by engaging in this yogic life, you will slowly start to feel that your mind is expanding. It is becoming all encompassing to include everybody in the society, right? So we cannot create a true human society without recognizing this connection with the rest of the society. We are interconnected with every human being on this earth, and not only with every human being, but with every animal, with every plant, with every being, right? We are interconnected with everything in this whole society. So everything belongs to us, we belong to them, right? That kind of a bhava, that kind of samatva bhava, that kind of a bhava where you feel this vasudhaiva kutumbakam, not only the human beings but everything on this universe, every bhuta is belonging to me. When you get that bhava, then your mind will expand. Then when your mind expands, that is when the union with Paramatma is possible. When your mind is very narrow with all divisions, right? when you want to divide the society, when you have divisions, and when you feel this is mine and that is not mine, those kind of feelings when you get, then there is no way your mind can expand, and there is no way that you can attain the union with Paramapurusha. Paramapurusha, in order to attain the union with Paramapurusha, your mind needs to be all encompassing. You need to have that bhava that all of us are brothers and sisters. We emanate from the same Paramapurusha. So when we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, it must be more than just words. It must be our reality, right? So when you have divisions in your mind for for a particular group or for a particular set of people, then still you claim Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, then there is no way that our mind can expand, right? So we are all the children of the same Paramapurusha. That is the core tenet of yogic philosophy. The samatva bhava is the core tenet of yogic philosophy. Unity cannot be achieved without this realization. Not only the unity with other human beings, but also the union with Paramapurusha. We said yoga means union of the finite with the infinite. That union cannot happen without this samatva bhava. So irrespective of the difference in color, color of the skin, eyes, hair, or the way we look, or the language we speak, or where we live, irrespective of all these are all superficial traits and they are irrelevant. So despite these differences, we are all essentially one. The only way to internalize this is to realize our common origin from Paramapurusha. So this adds a new dimension to our yogic endeavor. We are all collective beings moving towards the same goal. That is, Atma Moksha is an individual achievement, but we have to support each other in this journey. Everyone in this universe should have access to the basic requirements: food, clothing, shelter, education, medical care, right? When Paramapurusha created this universe, he created this with abundance, right? He didn't give any shortage. There is abundance for everybody, and we need to have that feeling that this abundant wealth that is there, resources that is there in the universe, is for everybody and not just for one person. So that is why we should not be hoarding anything. If we have something in excess, we should always be willing to share it with other people. So by working together, we maximize the opportunity for every member of this universal family, which is the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, so that all of us, we can strive for spiritual progress, we can strive for Atma Moksha. This is the true vision of yogic life. So there is no problem we cannot overcome, whether it is global warming or any other challenge, right? We can solve any problem if we work collectively and understand we are all on the same team. Yoga offers much to the world, both individually and collectively. So the people think that yoga offers only at the individual level, not at the collective level, but yoga has to offer at both the levels, right? Life is very short and we have much work to do, and our primary tasks are Atma Moksha and Atma Mokshaha, Atmanaha Mokshaha and Jagataha Hitam, right? Each of this support the other, right? You can't just be engaged in Atma Moksha without Jagat Hit, right? Jagataha Hitam is also very, very important. Only when you do engage in contributing selflessly to society, that is when your mind will expand, and that is when you get that deep satisfaction. Without that, you'll not get satisfaction. That is when your mind actually grows. So you can contribute to the society in any way you like, right? It can be financially, it can be you're teaching somebody something, or if somebody is starving, you're giving them food. If somebody doesn't have clothes, you're giving them clothes. So it can be in different ways that you can contribute to the society. So each of us should think, how am I going to contribute to the society, right? What is it that I can give to the society in return? So when you give that selflessly, you will just realize that you're getting such deep satisfaction which you would have never got, right? People think that the more I gather, right, more I get, I'm going to get happiness. But actually, the more you give, you're going to get happiness, and that you will not realize unless you engage in one such activity. And I'm sure all of you do engage in different kinds of contribution to the society, and you might have already realized that I'm getting satisfaction by giving, right? The satisfaction that you get by giving is not the satisfaction that you're going to get by taking something, right? So the atma moksha and jagat hit, they support each other. Without atma moksha we cannot understand the jagat hit. Without jagat hit you can't understand, you can't realize the atma moksha, right? So both of them go hand in hand. Without both of that you cannot create a unified society, and you cannot help the other person. So this is the true vision of a yogic life, right? So those of you who are sincerely interested in this yoganishta jivanam, so these are all the key concepts that you need to understand, right? So moving on, moving on, I wanted to talk about few more things, right? Before we actually start reading the Karapatra, I have few more things to cover before we can actually start reading the Karapatra. We're going to be talking about the Srishti Chakra, which will be very, very interesting to understand how the Srishti came about, right? How did Parama Purusha create this Srishti, right? Which is very, very interesting. It's a very, very interesting read, right? So we'll be reading that Karapatra together. But before that, I wanted to cover last few items, right? So we actually said that आत्मनः मोक्षः जगतः हितम् इति तत्र विषयद्वयम् अस्माभिः चर्चितं. तर्हि तत्र व्यक्तिगतस्तरे किं किम् आवश्यकम् इति अपि अस्माभिः चर्चितं. तत्र केचन आवश्यकाः अभ्यासाः सन्ति, यथा तत्र सात्विक आहारः, उपवासः, व्यापकः शौचम् इत्यादयः यद् अस्माभिः चर्चितं, ते सर्वे तु व्यक्तिगतस्तरे अभ्यासाः सन्ति. इदानीं तत्र सामूहिकस्तरे अपि किं किम् अपेक्षितम् इत्यपि अस्माभिः चर्चितम् इदानीमेव. व्यक्तिगतस्तरे अभ्यासाः के अभ्यासाः, अपि च सामूहिकस्तरे किम् अपेक्षितम् इत्यपि अस्माभिः इदानीं चर्चितम्. इदानीम् अस्मिन् इदानीम् अत्र व्यक्तिगत अभ्यासानां तत्र लाभः कः इत्यस्य विषये इदानीं चर्चां कुर्मः. तर्हि तत्र यानि अङ्गानि सन्ति, साधना अङ्गानि, यथा तत्र आहारः, उपवासः, आसनानि इत्यादयः, तर्हि यत्किमपि अस्माभिः एतावता ज्ञातं, ते सर्वे अपि तेषां सर्वेषां लक्ष्यं किम् इति चेत् साधनायाः सहायार्थं, साधनायाः अन्ततः साधनायाः लक्ष्यं किम् इति चेत् अनन्तस्य साक्षात्कारः एव साधनायाः लक्ष्यम्. अनन्तसत्तया सह ऐक्यं कथं प्राप्तुं शक्नुमः इत्येव अस्माकम् अन्तिमं लक्ष्यम् अस्ति. सत्तया सह ऐक्यं कथं प्राप्तुं शक्नुमः इति एव अत्र मूलविषयः. तदर्थमेव एतानि सर्वाणि साधनाङ्गानि सन्ति. एतानि साधनाङ्गानि अत्यन्तम् आवश्यकानि सन्ति. साधना अङ्गानां साहाय्यं स्वीकृत्य एव वयम् साधनायाम् अग्रे गन्तुं शक्नुमः. साधना इति तत्र मेडिटेशन् इति अपि वयं वक्तुं शक्नुमः. साधना इत्युक्ते चेष्टा इति अस्माभिः पूर्वं चर्चितं. साधना नाम चेष्टा, यदा स्वस्य मनः अनन्तसत्तायां केन्द्रीकरणमेव साधना. तस्यां सत्तायां केन्द्रीकृत्य अन्येभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः विचारेभ्यः मनः निवृत्तं भवति. एकस्मिन्नेव विषये मनः लग्नं भवति. अन्येषु विषयेषु अस्माकं चिन्तनं न भवति. केवलं केन्द्रीकृत्य मनः परमात्मनः एव चिन्तनं यदा करोति तदानीं साधना इति वयं वदामः. केवलं मनः परमात्मनः सह ऐक्यं, मनसः परमात्मनः सह ऐक्यम् एव तत्र साधना इति वयं वक्तुं शक्नुमः. तर्हि एतानि साधना अङ्गानि यानि अस्माभिः एतावता चर्चितानि, तानि सर्वाणि साधनायाः कृते एव आवश्यकानि सन्ति. ते एव अस्माकम् अन्तिमं लक्ष्यं प्राप्तुं तानि सर्वाणि अपि सहायं कुर्वन्ति. अस्तु, तर्हि इदानीं तत्र उपर्युक्ताः अभ्यासाः मनसि परमतृप्तिम् आनीय, यदा वयं ये अभ्यासाः सन्ति तेषां विषये तेषु वयं प्रवृत्ताः भवामः तदानीं तृप्तिं परमतृप्तिं प्राप्नुमः अपि च वयम् अस्माकं परमलक्ष्यं साधयितुमपि एतानि सर्वाणि अङ्गानि सहायं कुर्वन्ति इति तत्र साधना अङ्गानि इति तत्र उक्तम् इदानीं तत्र सामान्यतया साधना इति वयं वदामः चेत् साधना इत्युक्ते तत्र जनानां दुर्बोधः अस्ति साधनायाः विषये दुर्बोधः अस्ति ते सम्यक्तया न अवगच्छन्ति साधना नाम का इति ते सम्यक्तया न अवगच्छन्ति इत्युक्ते तत्र ध्यानम् इति पदस्य विषये एव जनानां दुर्बोधः अस्ति अतः ते तु व्यावहारिकविषये अपि ध्यानम् इति पदस्य प्रयोगं कुर्वन्ति जनाः यथा तत्र कश्चन वदति धावनं मम कृते ध्यानप्रक्रिया अस्ति इति कश्चन वदति धावनं रन्निङ्ग् इस् अ मेडिटेटिव् प्राक्टिस् फार् मी इति कश्चन वदति अथवा दिस् डिस्कशन् वास् एक्स्ट्रीम्लि मेडिटेटिव् एषा चर्चा अत्यन्तं ध्यानात्मिका अस्ति मम कृते इति तथापि जनाः व्यवहारं कुर्वन्ति अथवा एकं पुस्तकं पठित्वा वदन्ति तत्र दिस् बुक् वास् मेडिटेटिव् फार् मी इति एवं रीत्या भिन्नभिन्नरीत्या जनाः वदन्ति तथापि योगे ध्यानम् इत्युक्ते किम् अथवा साधना इत्युक्ते का इति चेत् ध्यानम् इति विशिष्टम् एकं कार्यमस्ति अनन्तसत्तायां मनसः केन्द्रीकरणम् एव साधना अनन्तसत्तायां मनसः केन्द्रीकरणं साधना इति उच्यते यथा अस्माभिः पूर्वमुक्तं यथा मनः चिन्तयति तद्वत् भवति यथा चिन्तनं तद्वत् भवति यदि कस्यचित् मनः अनन्तपरब्रह्मणि लग्नमस्ति तदानीं तत्र मनः अपि तथैव भवति यथा चिन्तनं तथैव मनः भवति या सत्ता अस्माकं सर्वेषां मार्गदर्शनं करोति या सत्ता अस्माकं सर्वेषां मार्गदर्शनं करोति यथा तत्र सूर्याणां चन्द्राणां ताराणां नक्षत्राणां मार्गदर्शनं करोति या सत्ता सा एव सत्ता अस्माकमपि मार्गदर्शनं करोति तां सत्तां प्रति केन्द्रीकर्तुं शक्नुमः तर्हि यदा केन्द्रीकुर्मः तदानीं मनसः विस्तारः भवति तेन अन्ततो गत्वा अस्माकम् ऐक्यमपि भवति मनसः जीवात्मनः परमात्मनः सह ऐक्यमपि प्राप्तुं शक्नुमः तर्हि तदर्थमेव साधना अङ्गानि सन्ति साधना नाम का इत्यपि इदानीम् अस्माभिः चर्चितं तर्हि अनन्तसत्तायां मनसः केन्द्रीकरणम् एव साधना इति तत्र उक्तं तर्हि साधनां कर्तुं तत्र क्लेशाः सन्ति साधनां कर्तुं देर् आर् लाट् आफ् आब्स्टकल्स् इन् डूयिङ्ग् साधनां कर्तुं तत्र वयं जानीमः मनः सहजतया तत्र विक्षिप्तं भवति मनः सर्वदा अहं किं करोमि अस्य विषये चिन्तनं वा अन्यस्य विषये चिन्तनं वा इतः ततः सर्वदा भ्रमति मनः इतः ततः भ्रमति तर्हि अहं यद्यपि वयं भारते भवामः तथापि मम मनः अमेरिकादेशे भवति अथवा मम मनः आफ्रिकादेशे भवति अन्यत्र भवति अथवा अहं कार्यालये अस्मि परन्तु मम मनः गृहे अस्ति मम पुत्रः किं करोति मम माता किं करोति मम पत्नी किं करोति इति तादृशचिन्तनं भवति अथवा इदानीं मध्याह्ने अहं किं खादामि इत्यस्मिन् विषये चिन्तनं भवति अथवा मम धनम् अस्ति तस्य विषये अहं किं करोमि अहं कुत्र स्थापयामि इत्यस्मिन् विषये चिन्तनं भवति इति एवं रीत्या मनः यद्यपि वयं साधनां कर्तुम् उपविष्टाः स्मः तथापि मनः तस्मिन् विषये लग्नं न भवति परमात्मनः चिन्तने लग्नं न भवति तर्हि मनः सहजतया विक्षिप्तमेव भवति तर्हि मनसः उन्नयनस्य अपेक्षया मनसः क्षयः सुकरः compared to elevating the mind falling down is actually much easier the mind can get depressed get degenerated very very quickly very easily elevating the mind is very very difficult to elevate the mind you need to make efforts right so if your mind is elevated then it is easy to cross this world. It is used samsara sagarasya अन्यत्र किं संसारसागरस्य तरणं सुलभं भवति. संसारसागरस्य तरणं सुलभं भवति यदि मनसः उन्नयनं भवति. मनसः क्षयः भवति चेत् संसारसागरस्य तरणं सुकरं नास्ति. अस्माकं तर्हि अस्माकं मनः अस्माकं वस्तुतः सम्पूर्ण अस्तित्वं लौकिककामनानां विषये चिन्तयितुमेव प्रवृत्तम् अस्ति अस्माकं मनः. तर्हि यत् किमर्थम् एवम् अस्ति, अस्माकं मनः किमर्थं लौकिकविषये एव चिन्तनं करोति, किमर्थं लौकिकविषयेषु एव अस्माकं मनः रमते इति चेत् किमर्थम् इति चेत् अस्माकं बहुभ्यः युगेभ्यः अस्माकं पशुजीवनम् आसीत् खलु. पशुभ्यः अस्माभिः विकसिताः, अतः बहुभ्यः कालेभ्यः अस्माकं पशुजीवनम् आसीत् इति कृत्वा तादृशी प्रवृत्तिः इदानीमपि अस्ति. यथा तत्र कीटस्य वा मत्स्यस्य वा मृगस्य वा वानरस्य वा अस्माकं जीवनम् आसीत् पूर्वम् इति कृत्वा अस्माकं मनः पशुधर्मम् अनुसृत्य कार्यं करोति. अतः एव सर्वदा लौकिकविषये एव अस्माकं मनः लौकिकवस्तूनां प्राप्त्यर्थम् अत्र केन्द्रितम् अस्ति अस्माकं मनः. किमर्थं चेत् अस्माभिः पशुजीवनम् अस्माभिः यापितं पूर्वम् इति कृत्वा एवं रीत्या मनः तस्मिन् विषये एव लग्नं भवति. बहुकालानन्तरम् अस्माभिः इदानीं तत्र मानवशरीरम् इदानीं प्राप्तं. तर्हि इदानीं मानवशरीरं यदा अस्माभिः प्राप्तम्, अस्माकं मनः स्वाभाविकतया विस्तृतमस्ति. अस्माकं मनः विस्तृतमस्ति. इट् इस् मोर् डेवलप्ड्. द मैण्ड् इस् मोर् डेवलप्ड्. तत्र critically it is different. The mind's nature is critically different when we got this human body, right? tasya kamanaah परिमिताः न सन्ति. अस्माकं मानवशरीरे अस्माकं मनसः कामनाः परिमिताः न सन्ति. तस्य सहजसाधनैः तृप्तिः न भवितुम् अर्हति. This mind is no longer satisfied by the finite things. It cannot be satisfied by these finite things. यतोहि अस्माकं प्रवृत्तिः इदानीं भिन्ना. यद्यपि पशु स्वभावः अस्ति, पशुप्रवृत्तिः अस्ति, पशुभ्यः आगताः इति कृत्वा पशुप्रवृत्तिः अस्ति, तथापि अस्माकं तत्र अन्यः धर्मः अपि अस्ति. सः धर्मः अस्ति मानवधर्मः. सः धर्मः अनन्तेषण इति अस्माभिः आरम्भतः वदन्तः स्मः. अस्माकं प्रवृत्तिः अनन्तेषण इति आरम्भतः वदन्तः स्मः. तर्हि परपुरुषे मनः केन्द्रीकरणार्थं तस्य उन्नयनार्थं तत्र अस्माभिः यत्नः करणीयः. तर्हि तदर्थं किम् अपेक्षितं? तत्र मनः परमात्मनि लग्नं भवतु इति चेत् तदर्थं किम् अपेक्षितम् इति चेत् परमात्मनः प्रति आकर्षणम् अपेक्षितम्. आकर्षणं यावत्पर्यन्तं परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं न अनुभवामः तावत्पर्यन्तं स्थूलवस्तुभ्यः अस्माकम् आकर्षणं भवति. वस्तूनि प्रति अस्माकम् आकर्षणं भवति. तस्मिन् विषये एव अस्माकं चिन्तनं भवति. यावत्पर्यन्तं परमात्मनः विषये परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं न भवति तावत्पर्यन्तं स्थूलविषयेषु एव अस्माभिः स्थूलविषयाणाम् एव चिन्तनम् अस्माकं भवति. तर्हि तदर्थं किं वर्धनीयम्? इदानीं तत्र मूलप्रश्नः अस्ति, अस्माभिः किं वर्धनीयम् इति चेत् परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं वर्धनीयम्. यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं नेत्राणि न उद्घाटितानि, यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं नेत्राणि न उद्घाटितानि तावत्पर्यन्तं परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं वर्धयितुं न शक्नुमः. तत्र अस्माकं मनसि तु अनन्तं ज्ञातुम्, अनन्तसत्तां ज्ञातुम् इच्छा वर्तते. वयं न जानीमः परन्तु इच्छा वर्तते. परन्तु तत्र बहुभ्यः दिनेभ्यः पशुजीवनं यापितवन्तः इति कृत्वा सर्वदा लौकिकविषयेषु एव मनः विचलितं भवति. तर्हि युगपर्यन्तं पशुजीवनम् अनुसृत्य जीवनं यापितवन्तः. अतः इदानीं क्लेशः सन्ति अस्माकं कृते, परन्तु यदा अस्माकं नेत्राणि उद्घाटितानि भवन्ति तदानीं तत्र अस्मिन् योगनिष्ठजीवने वयं प्रवृत्ताः भवामः। तदानीं तु मनसः परिमितवस्तुभ्यः मनसः तृप्तिः न भवितुम् अर्हति, मनः न तुष्यति, परिमितवस्तुभ्यः मनः न तुष्यति। तदानीं तत्र अन्तश्चक्षुः यदा उद्घाटितः भवति तदानीं तत्र वयम् अवगच्छामः अस्माकम् अनन्तेषणा वर्तते। इदानीं तत्र यस्य पुरुषस्य नेत्राणि उद्घाटितानि सन्ति तर्हि यः अद्यपि अन्धकारे नास्ति तादृशपुरुषः तत्र योगनिष्ठजीवने प्रवृत्तः भवति तादृशपुरुषः। तर्हि तत्र आत्मतृप्त्यर्थं सः यत्नं करोति, सः अवगच्छति वस्तुभ्यः मम सुखं नास्ति, मम अनन्तेषणा पूरिता न भवति इति। तदानीं तत्र अज्ञानात् ज्ञानम् आयाति, तस्य नेत्राणि उद्घाटितानि सन्ति। तदानीं तत्र यदा नेत्राणि उद्घाटितानि सन्ति तदानीं किं भवति इति चेत् अनन्तं प्रति आकर्षणं संवर्धयति, संवर्धयति यदा तत्र अस्माकं नेत्राणि जागरितानि सन्ति तदानीमेव तदेव तत्र अस्माकं सत्यं मानवजीवनम् अस्ति, तदेव ट्रू ह्यूमन् लैफ् अस्ति, तदेव अस्माकं मानवधर्मः अपि अस्ति। अस्माकं तु द्वौ धर्मौ स्तः, पशुधर्मः मानवधर्मः, द्वौ धर्मौ स्तः। तर्हि अस्य विषये पूर्वमपि चर्चां कृतवन्तः। तर्हि मानवधर्मं प्रति गन्तुम् अनन्तेषणां प्राप्तुं तर्हि मनसः अनन्तस्य कृते आकर्षणं संवर्धनीयम् इति आवश्यकता वर्तते। तर्हि प्रत्येकं मानवस्य एषा इच्छा भवति, परन्तु तस्यां दिशि तेषां जीवनस्य मार्गदर्शनं कर्तुं तत्र योगनिष्ठजीवनम् आवश्यकमस्ति। तर्हि एतद् मार्गदर्शनं मुख्यतया एकं विषयम् आश्रित्य भवति, तत्तु अनन्तस्य आकर्षणं संवर्धनीयम् इति विषयं प्रति आधारीकृत्य भवति। तदेव अनन्तं प्रति आकर्षणम् इति यद् वयं वदामः तदेव भक्तिः इति वक्तुं शक्नुमः। अनन्तं प्रति आकर्षणमेव भक्तिभावः अस्ति। यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं अन्ते भक्तिभावः जागरितः न भवति तावत्पर्यन्तं वयम् अग्रे गन्तुं न शक्नुमः। यत्किमपि वयं कुर्मः, साधनामपि कुर्मः, साधनाङ्गानि अपि वयं कुर्मः, साधनाङ्गानामपि पालनं कुर्मः, तथापि अग्रगतिः न भवति यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकम् अन्ते अनन्तं प्रति आकर्षणं नास्ति, यावत्पर्यन्तं भक्तिभावः नास्ति तावत्पर्यन्तम् अग्रे गन्तुं न शक्नुमः। Right? So we have mentioned this before, that the infinite entity is like a great magnet, right? And we, the human beings, we are like a piece of iron, right? So we can get attracted to that magnet only if that piece of iron is pure, right? The purity of the iron determines how much it is attracted by the magnet. So the attraction is the key. That attraction is the bhakti. So someone may start the path of sadhana, but until they cultivate this attraction, their progress will primarily depend on their discipline, right? The discipline can takes only one so far, right? In the beginning, discipline is necessary, but then it transitions from discipline into habit and ultimately into swabhava, ultimately into nature. It only becomes a nature when one becomes truly attracted to Paramapurusha. So, like, how do we know that we are truly attracted to Paramapurusha, right? So how do we know that this has become our nature? How do we know that attaining Paramapurusha, or how do I know that I have this bhakti bhava? How do I know that I have this supreme attraction towards Paramapurusha? How do I know that? So, like, for instance, if you are, like, for instance, you are engaged in a conversation with your friend, right? मित्रेण सह सम्भाषणं करोति इति कुर्वन् अस्ति इति चिन्तयतु कुर्वन् अस्ति तत्र भवान् आनन्दमपि अनुभवति मित्रेण सह सम्भाषणं सर्वदा आनन्ददायकं भवति इति कृत्वा आनन्दमपि अनुभवति यु आर् एन्जायिङ्ग् द कन्वर्सेशन् but then suddenly you realize that it's time for your sadhana, right? Let's say you do sadhana at 5 o'clock in the evening and you realize you've been having conversation with your friend for let's say 30 minutes and suddenly you realize, oh, now it's time for my sadhana. So then at this point in time you need to make a decision whether I want to engage in this conversation with my friend, continue the conversation which I'm enjoying so much, or this is the time for my sadhana, for my meditation, that I need to do my meditation. What will you decide? Right? If you decide that I want to engage in this conversation with my friend, that means your attraction to Parama Purusha has not progressed, has not grown, right? So on the other hand, if you feel no, I have had enough conversation with my friend, now it's my time for my sadhana, now it's my time for dedicating my mind to Parama Purusha. If I have that realization, I will go and do the practice, and you realize I shall go and do my practice, right? But then you're still enjoying the conversation, right? So when you have come to that state where you have exerted the discipline to go and do sadhana, but right, when you decided and you went to do the sadhana, then you can realize that your attraction to the Parama Purusha has progressed significantly. But on the other hand, if you feel that no, I will do the sadhana later, it's okay, today I will skip my sadhana, I will just go and continue my conversation, then you can realize your attraction, your bhakti bhava Parama Purusha has not increased. You're still having a long way to go. So that is one way for you to evaluate, not only in this particular example but in any example for that matter, right? So anything else where you're doing, you have unexpected visitor in your house and you have to manage the visitor and also you have to do your sadhana. How do you balance it, right? What kind of a decision you take at that particular point in time, and how do you handle that situation, right? So it is very easy to say, okay, today I'm going to skip this, today I'm going to, or today it's one day, okay, or today it's a festival, so let me eat this, it's okay, for one day I just break my thing. No. So even for one day you will not skip it, right? Because when you're engaged in this path, right, that is the firm conviction that you will get in your mind that this is the path I've chosen, and my attraction towards Parama Purusha, my bhakti bhava for Parama Purusha is so supreme that I will not break the rules even for one day. Even for one day I will not say, oh, it's okay, I will eat this, it's okay, I will do this. No. So this is what I have determined and this is my conviction, I will not go down from it. That conviction, when you have it, then you can realize that you have made this whole process into a swabhava. Till that point in time, you're still there in the beginning stages, we still haven't progressed significantly. So when you come to that stage, that means you can be assured that your attraction to Parama Purusha has grown significantly. When you make that right choice to say, no, it is time for my meditation, I will do that, right? Everything else is secondary for me. For me, primary thing is to do my sadhana. Primary thing for me is to engage in this yogic life. When you get that firm conviction, then you can know that your attraction towards Parama Purusha, to Paramatma, has increased drastically. You are steadfast in your goal, right? So till that point in time, it is going to be a lot of struggle. So that point in time, you'll realize that anantasya akarshanam, anantam prati akarshanam samvarditam iti avagantum shaknumaha, right? So yavat tatra, it becomes nature only, it becomes nature when one truly becomes attracted to Parama Purusha, right? So it will become nature when when it has become nature, then you will be truly attracted to Parama Purusha, and then you'll know how to pause from everything else you're doing and get back to what you're supposed to do in that particular point in time, lead a disciplined life, right? So यावत् पर्यन्तं परमपुरुषं प्रति आकर्षणं नास्ति तावत् पर्यन्तं योगनिष्ठजीवनं स्वभावः अपि न भवति, रैट् इति तत्र योगनिष्ठजीवनम् एव योगनिष्ठजीवनम् अस्मिन् मार्गे यदा वयं गच्छामः तदानीमेव आनन्दः भवति, न तु केवलम् अन्ततो गत्वा तत्र जीवात्मनः परमात्मना सह ऐक्यं यदा भवति तदानीमेव आनन्दप्राप्तिः इति नास्ति. यदा वयम् अस्मिन् मार्गे गच्छामः तदानीमेव मनः शान्तं भवति, मनः आनन्दितमपि भवति तदानीमेव भवति अस्मिन् मार्गे गमनमेव आनन्ददायकं भवति न तु केवलम् अन्ततो गत्वा जीवात्मनः परमात्मना सह ऐक्यं यदा भवति तदानीमेव आनन्दः लभ्यते इति नास्ति तादृशं नास्ति तत्र मार्गः एव आनन्ददायकः अस्ति आनन्ददायकः मार्गः अस्ति अस्तु एतावता यत्किमपि चर्चितं तत्र कोऽपि वक्तुमिच्छति वा यत् प्रिया भगिनी वक्तुमिच्छति वा
नमस्ते महोदय
नमस्कारः भगिनी
नमस्कारः अद्य वयं we were speaking about the path being as important as the goal. So अत्र वयं ज्ञातुं शक्नुमः यदा वयं दृढनिश्चयं कुर्मः चेत् एव साधना भविष्यति नो चेत् एकवारम् अद्य अहं किञ्चित् अन्य खादामि चिन्ता मास्तु इति अद्य साधनस्य समयः अस्ति किन्तु अन्यकार्यं करणीयं तथा वयं चिन्तयामः चेत् तत्र दृढतया मम योगनिष्ठजीवनं न कर्तुं शक्नुमः when the desire to be with the Paramatma, to be with the Ananta is predominant thought in the mind throughout the day, the being with the can I use the word supreme, the Parabrahman becomes the goal for the day to day, not just life, even every second, every minute, to be aikyam with that. Then alone we can say that we are on the we are doing the we are having we are doing the sadhana, we are on that path. Otherwise every time we get a little bit of distraction or a little bit of what do you say, we get carried away by something, we give priority to something else, then we are not on that. So the important thing to remember is that at all points of time throughout the day, and the focus should be on that Parabrahman. And another thing that we spoke about today is that we human beings are a species that live in a social milieu. We do not live in isolation. So to say that I will go, I mean, this was not spoken about, but we've spoken about before, to say that we have to go away from the society and live a life of isolation, only then we can do sadhana, is not true. We live here, and so the this philosophy is part of our it is a day-to-day activity. So it is like how we can be useful to other people is also the so the social fabric is intact, and we continue with our day-to-day activities, interactions with others, and yet we are able to stay in that state of mind where we are always connected to the divine. And so here in this path we work for the welfare of the society as a whole and for our individual liberation also. So that is why this path has this, because when we stay on this path we very much stay in the society, we very much work for the society, we live in the society, and yet we work for our own individual liberation as well, and for the collective good as well.
Okay, nicely said Bhagini, very nicely said, thank you. Yeah, तथा एव अस्ति. आम्, तर्हि तत्र समीचीनं. तर्हि किञ्चित् अग्रे गन्तुं शक्नुमः. साधनां कर्तुं परिश्रमः अपेक्षितः अस्ति साधनायां परिश्रमः अवश्यं भवति किमर्थम् इति चेत् प्रारम्भिकस्तरे विघ्नाः तु भवन्ति एव प्रारम्भिकस्तरे विघ्नाः भवन्ति शारीरिकविघ्नः भवितुमर्हति अथवा मानसिकविघ्नाः विक्षेपः अपि भवितुम् अर्हन्ति तर्हि शारीरिकस्तरे तत्र असुविधाः भवितुम् अर्हन्ति यथा अहं पद्मासने उपवेष्टुं न शक्नोमि तत्र ऐ हेव् पेन् इन् द नी रैट् अथवा ऐ हेव् पेन् इन् द लेग्स् इति एतादृशः भवति यतोहि अस्माकम् अभ्यासः नास्ति खलु पद्मासने उपवेशनम् इति अपि अभ्यासः अस्माकं नास्ति चेत् तदानीं क्लेशः भवति पद्मासने उपवेशनम् इति एव क्लेशः भवति केवलम् अहं 5 निमिषपर्यन्तमेव उपवेष्टुं शक्नोमि अथवा 10 निमिषपर्यन्तमेव उपवेष्टुं शक्नोमि इति तत्र तादृशक्लेशाः भवन्ति इति कृत्वा अहं साधनां त्यजामि इति न भवेत् अपि च तत्र प्रारम्भिकस्तरे मनः अपि एकत्र न तिष्ठति इतः ततः सर्वदा भ्रमति तत्र वानरः एव यथा अस्माभिः पूर्वं चर्चितं वानरः एव इतः ततः सर्वदा भ्रमणेव भवति तदानीं तत्र अहं साधनां कर्तुं न शक्नोमि इति अपि आयाति परन्तु तदानीमपि दृढनिश्चयः अपेक्षितः अस्ति यतोहि तदर्थमेव उक्तं तत्र साधनायां परिश्रमस्य आवश्यकता भवति तत्र इत्युक्ते यावत्पर्यन्तं मनसि परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं नास्ति तावत्पर्यन्तं एतादृशक्लेशाः भवन्ति यदा तत्र परमात्मनं प्रति आकर्षणं वर्धते तदानीं तु तत्र शनैः तत्र शारीरिकस्तरे अपि ये क्लेशाः सन्ति ते अपि गच्छन्ति अपि च मानसिकस्तरे ये विक्षेपाः सन्ति ते अपि अपगच्छन्ति तत्तु क्षणैः भवति अभ्यासेन एव भवति यथा तत्र कृष्णः अर्जुनं प्रति यथा वदति अभ्यासेन कौन्तेय इति वदति खलु तथा अत्र अभ्यासेन एव भवति यदा प्रतिदिनम् अभ्यासं कुर्मः तदानीं शनैः वयं स्वयं द्रष्टुं शक्नुमः अस्माकं मनः वर्धते मनः एकस्मिन् विषये तिष्ठति मनसि तत्र एकाग्रता वर्धते तत् सर्वं वयं द्रष्टुं शक्नुमः तत्र एतद् आकर्षणं यदा परमपुरुषं प्रति आकर्षणं वर्धते तदानीमेव भवति परमपुरुषं प्रति एतद् आकर्षणं यदस्ति यः प्रेमभावः अस्ति सा एव भक्तिः इति वयं वदामः सा भावः एव भक्तिः इति वयं वदामः तर्हि साधनायां परिश्रमस्य आवश्यकता वर्तते प्रारम्भिकस्तरे विघ्नाः तु अवश्यं भवन्ति एव तत्र तेषां विघ्नानाम् अतिक्रमणम् आवश्यकं we have to get over those challenges तत्र यदा परमपुरुषेण सह गहनतया आकर्षणं वर्धते तदानीम् आनन्दस्य विषयः भवति साधना आनन्दस्य विषयः भवति प्रारम्भिकस्तरे साधना इत्युक्ते तत्र जनानां भयं भवति भीतिः भवति अहं तु साधनां न कर्तुं शक्नोमि कथं वा एकस्मिन् स्थले उपवेष्टुं शक्नोमि इति तादृश चिन्तनमपि भवति परन्तु यदा तत्र क्रमेण यदा वयं प्रतिदिनम् अभ्यासं कुर्मः तदानीं तत्र क्लेशानाम् अतिक्रमणम् अवश्यमेव भवति अपि च आनन्ददायक अनुभवः अपि भवति साधनातः आनन्दः अवश्यं लभ्यते तत्र यावत्पर्यन्तं साधनां कुर्मः तावत्पर्यन्तं मनः शान्तं भवति यद्यपि तत्र साधनायां प्रारम्भिकस्तरे क्लेशाः सन्ति इति एतत् सर्वम् अस्ति तथापि यदा साधनायाः समाप्तिः भवति तदानीं तत्र अस्माकम् अन्ततः तत्र आनन्दः तु अवश्यं भवति एव तत्र शान्तिः मनसि आगच्छति एव यद्यपि तत्र साधनायां तत्र क्लेशाः आसन् तथापि यदा साधनां समापयामः तत्र साधनायाम् एकः किम् इवन् 1 मिनिट् एकनिमिषपर्यन्तमपि यदा वयं परमात्मनः विषये चिन्तनं कुर्मः तस्मात् अपि अस्माकम् आनन्दः अवश्यं भवति साधनायाः समाप्त्यानन्तरं सर्वदा आनन्दः तु अवश्यं भवति एव द मैण्ड् बिकम्स् टोटली काम् दट् इस् नो डौट् इवन् दो यू हेव् obstacles in your sadhana where even though your mind is wandering from one thing to another even after that just dedicatedly sitting there for whatever 30 minutes or whatever that you're sitting there in sadhana that is of great help it just calms your mind completely right? अन्येषां विषयाणाम् आकर्षणं सम्पूर्णतया नष्टं भवति. तत्तु कालान्तरेण अवश्यमेव वयम् अनुभोक्तुं शक्नुमः, right? So the example that we have given many times, right? यदा तत्र एकः शिशुः मातुः यानस्य तत्र कुञ्चिका अस्ति खलु, कीस्, कार् कीस्, तत्र तेन सह क्रीडनं करोति इति चिन्तयतु. माता इदानीं बहिः मातृभिः बहिः गन्तव्यं. तदर्थं तत्र कार्यानस्य कुञ्चिका आवश्यकी अस्ति. तदानीं परन्तु शिशुः न ददाति. तदानीं तत्र किं करोति माता इति चेत् तत्र शिशोः कृते अन्यत् उत्तमं क्रीडनकं ददाति. तदानीं यदा शिशुः तद् प्राप्नोति, तत् क्रीडनकं प्राप्नोति, तदानीं तत् किं करोति इति चेत् तत्र यानस्य कुञ्चिकां सः तत्र किं मातरं ददाति, कुञ्चिकां ददाति. तदानीं तत्र कुञ्चिकायां शिशोः रुचिः इदानीं नष्टा. किमर्थं नष्टा इति चेत् यतोहि तस्य कृते इतोपि उत्तमं क्रीडनकं इदानीम् अस्ति इति कृत्वा तत्र कुञ्चिकायाः विषये तत्र रुचिः नास्ति. एवमेव यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं रुचिः लौकिकविषयेषु भवति तावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं चिन्तनं परमात्मनः विषये न भवति एव. सर्वदा लौकिकविषयेषु एव चिन्तनं भवति. परन्तु यदा तत्र परमात्मनः विषये रुचिः अभिवर्धते तदानीं किं भवति इति चेत् तदानीं तत्र लौकिकविषयाणां चिन्तनमेव न भवति. क्षणैः लौकिकविषयाणां रुचिः अपि न भवति. यद् अस्माकं कृते बहु रुचिकरम् आसीत् पूर्वम्, इदानीं तत्तु मम कृते रुचिकरमेव नास्ति. इदानीं तु मम इण्ट्रेस्ट् एव नास्ति तस्मिन् विषये. लौकिकविषयेषु मम इण्ट्रेस्ट् एव नास्ति. इदानीं मम चिन्तनं तु परमात्मनः विषये एव अस्ति इति तादृश आकर्षणं वर्धते इति वयं स्वयम् अनुभोक्तुं शक्नुमः. तत्र यतोहि परमात्मा इस् अ ग्रेट् मैग्नेट्. यदा तत्र आकर्षणं शनैः वर्धते तदानीं तत्र that attraction pulls you so much that you will not get attracted to the laukika things, that you will slowly realize that I'm not attracted to these worldly things anymore. It happens very naturally. It happens very naturally when you engage in this life. You don't have to struggle a lot. When you engage in this yogic life, it is only a matter of initial discipline in doing certain things. When you do those things in a disciplined fashion, then automatically your mind is no longer attracted by these crude objects of the world. Your mind distracts from all these it just distracts from these laukika things and it just focuses more on Paramatma. That is a gradual transition, right? So bhaktihi rituals इत्यनेन सह तस्याः सम्बन्धः नास्ति. Bhakti has nothing to do with any rituals, right? It is the deep love one feels for the supreme entity. It is the deep love and the bhakti that one has, the prema bhava that one has for that ananta satta. Saiva bhaktihi. Tatra paramasattam prati, paramatmanam prati yaha prema bhavaha asti saha eva bhaktihi iti vayam vadamah. Tatra right? So people developed attractions according to the level of the elevation of their mind, right? A crude mind, if the mind is crude, then it is attracted to the crude things. If the mind is elevated, right? If the mind is elevated, then mind is attracted to higher things, right? It's attracted to more subtle things. So you can gauge your mind at any point in time. You can gauge your mind at one point in time. Just you close your eyes and you just gauge your mind. Where is my mind attracted towards? What is the thing that to which it is attracted at this point in time? If it is attracted to a crude thing, then you can realize that you have a long way to go. You need to work more, right? But if your mind is not attracted to crude things, it is getting more attracted to the supreme, then you can realize that your mind has elevated, right? So one can gauge the elevation of one's mind by observing one's likes and dislikes, right? If you observe your likes and dislikes, you will know where your mind is focusing right now, right? So like for instance, we've all engaged in this yogic life and we have changed our diet a lot, right? But still, if you're craving for what the things that you were eating before, if you're just craving for it, that means you can understand that your mind, there is a long way to go for your mind to get more elevated, and that requires more practice, that requires more discipline, right? So if your mind is still attracted to the cruder things of life that you were attracted previously, then you can understand, you can gauge where your mind is. So each of us can gauge where our mind is. So right, if someone is doing sadhana, someone is engaging in his yogic life, but even still then is yearning for his the old things that he was doing, like for instance is yearning for listening to the rock and roll music, or in indulging in the mundane pleasures of the world, then you can realize that your mind has still, there is a long way to go, still your mind needs to get elevated. So like that we can gauge the level where the mind is, right? So the elevation of the mind is possible by engaging in the yogic practices, and also by developing the bhakti bhava, right? Bhakti bhava for Paramapurusha, right? So it's the key thing is to develop the bhakti bhava. Without the bhakti bhava we cannot progress further. So it is very essential to develop this bhakti bhava, right? So to overcome these etesham adama akarshananam अतिक्रमणं कदा भवति इति चेत् यदा परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं यदा वर्धते, तदानीम् एव एतेषाम् अधमाकर्षणानां प्रति तत्र आकर्षणानाम् अतिक्रमणं तदा एव भवति इति अत्र मुख्यविषयः अस्ति. यथा तत्र शिशोः उदाहरणम् इदानीं दत्तं, यावत्पर्यन्तं यानस्य कुञ्चिकायां रुचिः अस्ति तावत्पर्यन्तम् अन्यस्य विषये तत्र चिन्तनं न भवति. यदा तत्र अन्यत् उत्तमं क्रीडनकं शिशुः प्राप्नोति, तदानीं तत् किं करोति इति चेत् झटिति तद् कार्यानं त्यजति, कार्यानस्य कुञ्चिकां त्यजति. एवं यदा यावत्पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं मनसि परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं नास्ति, तावत्पर्यन्तं स्थूलवस्तुषु अस्माकं रुचिः भवति, स्थूलवस्तुषु अधिका रुचिः भवति. परन्तु यदा अस्माकम् आकर्षणं परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं वर्धते, तदानीं स्थूलवस्तुषु अस्माकं रुचिः नष्टा भवति. तर्हि मनः यावत्पर्यन्तं उन्नतिं प्राप्य परमपुरुषं प्रति आकर्षणं न प्राप्नोति, तावत्पर्यन्तं स्थूलवस्तुषु आकर्षणं भवति. यदा परमात्मानं प्रति आकर्षणं भवति, तदानीं स्थूलवस्तुषु आकर्षणं नष्टं भवति इति अवगन्तुं शक्नुमः. इति तत्र मनसि तु अनन्तं ज्ञातुम् इच्छा वर्तते, परन्तु मनः तु लौकिकवस्तुभिः सहजतया विचलितं भवति. परन्तु एकदा तत्र स्वस्य परमलक्ष्यस्य साक्षात्कारं यदा कश्चन पुरुषः साक्षात्कारं करोति, तदा तस्य परमपुरुषं प्रति आकर्षणम् अवश्यमेव वर्धते. If you realize what your ultimate goal of life is and you engage in this yogic practice, then automatically, naturally there is an attraction towards the infinite. एतत्तु अनुशासनेन आरभ्यते, परन्तु अन्ततः वास्तविक आकर्षणम् आवश्यकं भवति, यत्तु भक्तिद्वारा प्राप्तुं शक्नुमः. यथा मनः अधिकम् औन्नत्यं प्राप्नोति, तथा परमसत्तां प्रति आकर्षणम् अपि वर्धते, आकृष्टम् अपि भवति. तथा स्वाभाविकतया स्थूलेषु लौकिकेषु विषयेषु रुचिः अपि नष्टा भविष्यति इति तत्र अवगन्तुं शक्नुमः. अस्तु, एतावता यद् उक्तं तस्य विषये तत्र कः सरला भगिनी वक्तुमिच्छति वा?
भगिनी, यथा प्रिया भगिनी उक्तवती, भवती उक्तवती इति अस्ति, अस्माकं जीवनस्य लक्ष्यम् अस्ति अनन्तेषणा इति, आत्ममोक्ष इति अस्माकं लक्ष्यम् अस्ति. यदि कथं साधयामः इति, तस्य यथा वयं भवती बोधितवती अस्माभिः इति साधना करणीयं, तेषां कानि उपाङ्गानि सन्ति आहार इति शौचं आहार शौचम् अपि उपवास इति अपि साधना केवलं यदि प्रथमं यदि वयं इति एते केवलं साधना अस्ति साधना उपाय अस्ति किन्तु तत् लक्षण अस्ति एते केवल उपायानि अस्माकं लक्षण भवति करणेन इति वयं इति भावयामः अहं जीवनस्य लक्ष्य प्राप्तवती इति न भवति यावत् पर्यन्तम् अस्माभिः ऐक्यं न भवति आत्मनि तत् तावत् पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं जीवनस्य मोक्षः न प्राप्त भवति तो इति प्रथमं नियमं करणीयं तो नियम प्रथमं बहवः विघ्नानि सन्ति कारणं कि अस्माकं यत् मनुष्यजीवनम् अस्ति तस्य प्राक् बहवः जन्म मृत्यु चक्रात् वयं आगतवन्तः तस्य पशुवृत्ति अस्माकम् इदानीम् अपि अस्ति तो इन्द्रियाणि सदैव बहिः एव गच्छन्ति लौकिकविषयान् प्रति तर्हि तत् कथं तस्य संयमं करणीयम् इति तस्य युद्धं अस्माकं मनसि प्रचलति इति खादामि न खादामि व्रतं करोमि न करोमि वा कोऽपि गृहे आगच्छति यदि अतिथ्य तेषां तैः सह उपविश्य वयं अपि तत् भोजनं कुर्मः इति कथं अस्माभिः नियमं करणीयम् इति प्रथमस्तरे इति विघ्ना भवति किन्तु यदि अस्माकं निश्चयम् अस्ति मया इति कर्तव्यम् एव तदानीम् एव वयं नियमं पालनं कर्तुं शक्नुमः अपि यदि वयं प्रार्थना कुर्मः मया एता शक्तिः अस्ति अहं कर्तुं शक्नोमि इति आत्मविश्वास आनीयं तदानीं वयं अग्रे अस्माकं लक्ष्यं प्रति गन्तुं शक्नुमः तो इति यदि वयं कुर्मः तो तदानीम् अग्रे यत् साधना भवति तदा मनः शुद्धः भवति यदि मनः शुद्धः भवति तदानीं साधना प्रति मनसि प्रेम आगच्छति यदि वयं इति भावनायाः लग्नतया कुर्मः तत्र शनैः अस्माकं बहिः आकर्षणं अपगच्छति इति यदि वयं कुर्मः तदानीं साधना अपि सुष्ठु भवति साधना उपविश्य अपि वयं अधिकं समय व्याप्तं शक्नुमः इति तो तत् इति वयं यथा पूर्वं भवती उक्तवती अस्माकं यत् लक्ष्यम् अस्ति आत्मनि सर्वेभ्यः एक आत्मा एव अस्ति तो यदि वयं सर्वैः एकम् आत्मनि पश्यामः तदानीं परस्य दुःख अपि मम दुःखः भवति परस्य सुख मम सुखः अस्ति इति भावना यदि आगच्छति मनसि तो वयं यथा आत्ममोक्षात् जगद्हिताय इति तो अन्येभ्यः प्रति वयं सेवा कुर्मः वा किमपि हितं इति तस्य प्रयत्न इति चलनं प्रयत्न तदैव करणीयमिति अस्ति तो प्रेरणा भवति यदि वयं नियमेन अस्माकं वर्गे आगच्छामः तो प्रेरणा प्राप्नुमः प्रेरणा यदि भवति तदानीं पुनः अस्माकं निश्चयमपि दृढं भवति यदा निश्चयं दृढं भवति तो साधना ये अङ्गानि सन्ति तत् प्रचलनम् अपि भवति अस्माकं इति लक्ष्यं प्रति अग्रे भवामः कथं जानीमः यथा भवती उक्तवती यत् सहज स्वभावः आगच्छति इति प्रयत्न इति युद्धं न भवति सहज एव भवति खादनम् इति nature changes so that's what it is for me.
Very good, Bhagini. Extremely good. Thank you so much. Yeah, so yesterday was actually Upavasa. Anybody tried Upavasa? Yesterday was Ekadashi.
Because Sunday
you're doing today?
Yeah, so I just
you're doing today?
Yeah,
okay, very very
I cannot do the kriya then in the morning because I have to go then on.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, very good, Bhagini, very good. Anybody else? So yesterday was Ekadashi, so you can actually do it on the day of Ekadashi or one day before or one day after. So everybody should try the Upavasa. It is extremely good and you will feel so good after you do, because you're going to follow the process of breaking the fast, right? So when you do that that whole cleaning process, it is really so good. You feel like a new leaf, right? You feel like so fresh and you feel so clean inside. It's difficult to express in words. You have to go through it, then only you understand what I'm trying to say. And also most of the issues, most of the diseases come from the stomach, right? Most diseases come from the stomach. I think Sarla Bhagini can vouch for that. Most diseases stem from the stomach, so it is very important that your digestive tract is clean, right? This is a process by which you can clean your digestive tract, which has never been cleaned since birth, right? So all of you should try. If you don't have any major health issues, you should definitely try this Upavasa. And even for people who have diabetes, if you're not on insulin, you can easily try this Upavasa. And if for some reason you're feeling very tired or very sick, then only for those people you can maybe have a little bit of water on the day of the Upavasa in the morning, or maybe eat a little bit light in the morning for those people who are diabetic. For others, I think if you're healthy, you can definitely do this Upavasa. I encourage all of you to try this out, right? So we can do it on the two Ekadashis, or you can do it on generally for beginners, 2 Upavasas on both Ekadashis is actually good. And for those who are very interested, they can do 4 times a month on Amavasya and Paurnami as well. Okay, so we can wind up the class right now here. And I encourage all of you to come from the next class on time, because we'll start reading the Karapatra. It starts with the Srishti Chakra and all that. It will be very interesting. Okay, अस्तु तर्हि धन्यवादः, नमस्कारः.
नमस्कारः भगिनी, धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः, नमस्कारः. Bhagini, this one is still not up, no?
Yeah, the archive has been this one attacked by some virus, right? It has been hijacked, so they're trying to retrieve it, so it will take some time. They have said the data is all safe, so they need to retrieve it and do whatever they need to do it to get back in shape.
So Bhagini, because last week I didn't listen. I wanted to listen, but I'm not being able to.
Yeah, you want to listen to Sanskrit session? I can send you just the video link.
Yes,
for last week and for this week. Last week and this week I can send the.
Yeah, Bhagini, please send it because I always join late in the class.
Yeah, I will send the link for last week and this week.
Yeah, if you can send the slide, you can those. Yeah.
Until archive is back, I will just be sending the recording directly. I won't put it in archive. I'll just send it directly. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Dhanyavadah. Namaskaraha.